this time I recognize Ms. Lee for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bice and Ranking Member Kilmer, for holding this important hearing, and thank you to all of our witnesses for appearing today. Ensuring the continuity of Congress in a time of crisis is a sobering but critical task for us. In contrast to the Senate, as we've discussed today, the Constitution requires the House vacancies to be filled through special elections, thereby ensuring that the people decide who their elected representatives are. As chair of the Subcommittee on Elections, I am interested in ensuring that states are equipped and prepared to smoothly and expeditiously fill House vacancies through special elections in the event of the unthinkable. Ms. Gambler, I would like to return to your testimony. Thank you for the preliminary insights that you have shared with us from the GAO's ongoing review of state capabilities for holding special elections for House vacancies. I'd like to go back to the input that you got from the survey from state elections officials. 9 states have passed laws concerning special elections that mirror the federal 49-day requirement, but it sounds like some of the states have been more successful there than others. Would you elaborate a little bit more on the types of procedures that the 9 states who do mirror federal law have adopted? What aspects of those laws have they been able to successfully implement?
Absolutely, Congresswoman. Thank you for the question. So there's a little bit of variation across those 9 states, but generally most of them have adopted into their state laws provisions addressing the 49-day time frame that's specified into USC 8B. A few of the states have also addressed other aspects of 2 USC 8B, which is the federal law we're talking about, and those include provisions related to the candidate selection process and the transmission of ballots for military and overseas voters.
So if you would, share with us the candidate selection process and how they've modified qualifying. You touched in your statement earlier on using political parties to help identify who the candidates are going to be. Elaborate for us on how that candidate qualifying process has been adjusted in these 9 states so that they can meet the 49-day timeline.
Yes, thank you for the question. We haven't looked in detail at what the specific procedures would be for candidate selection in those 9 states in particular. But what I can say is that for some of those 9 states, they have particularly adopted the timeframes that are specified in the federal law that we're discussing related to identifying candidates. So it's really the time frame piece that we're speaking about.
And the other thing that you brought up specifically is the UOCAVA, our overseas voters, our overseas military voters. There are also provisions in federal law that tell elections officials when those ballots need to be mailed, how long they need to be out there. Did you discover that some of those provisions are inconsistent with a requirement that we fill these seats in 49 days?
Yes, thank you. I think that's an important point. So there are differences in the timeframes for the transmission of ballots to military and overseas voters between what's specified in 2 USC 8B and what's in UOCAVA. 2 USC 8B specifies that states are to transmit to the greatest extent practicable ballots to military and overseas citizens voters within 15 days of Speaker's announcements. In comparison, in UOCAVA, the requirement is to transmit those absentee ballots within 45 days of Election Day. So there is a difference there between those 2 federal requirements, and we did hear from the state election officials that responded to our survey that could be a point of challenge for them in holding a special election.
You also mentioned some of the procurement and logistics issues that were raised in these surveys related to ballot preparation, ballot printing. Can you share with us a little bit more about the other logistical challenges that were identified for you?
Absolutely. So there is, of course, a relationship between candidate selection and ballot preparation. We heard in doing our work that the selection of candidates is obviously important so that ballots can then be printed and prepared. And we did hear from states that it could be challenging to prepare and print ballots on a compressed time frame because of what their existing state laws and procedures are related to ballot ballot preparation, but then also issues related to things like the availability of ballot paper stock, which is used for ballots. So that was an area of concern identified as well.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, I yield back.